Hey, welcome back. We got a very special episode for you today for two reasons. First of all, we're here at the Mahoning Drive-In, and this is in Mahoning Township, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour from Allentown, an hour from Reading, and an hour from Wilkes-Barre, if you know those like secondary cities in Pennsylvania. So last night we watched 4 films. We watched Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, we watched the Food of the Gods, we watched The Corpse Grinders, which I've already done a video for, and we watched Night of a Thousand Cats. So today we're going to talk about Night of a Thousand Cats, or La Noche de los Mil Gatos, because it was a Mexican film. So we watched it on 35mm film, and it was an original film that was preserved by someone. I believe Exhumed Films has preserved it and loaned it to the drive-in so they could show it last night. As far as us being werewolves, I don't know what happened here. I just woke up like this, and this is the Pennsylvania werewolf here. You can usually find them around Johnstown, Pittsburgh. I've seen them before, but I've never seen myself like this. But there was kind of an animal theme last night anyway. We had one movie about giant rats, bugs, mosquitoes, and chickens, and then we had 2 movies about killer cats, so I guess it works out.
There's a commercial or a trailer about a werewolf movie, Boy Who Cried Werewolf.
What was it called?
The Boy Who Cried Werewolf.
Oh yeah, that one looks good. I haven't seen that one yet. So as far as The Night of a Thousand Cats, it's a Mexican film. It was directed by René Cardona Jr. Now that's the first horror film that René Cardona Jr. has done, but his father did many of the Santo films, which I have reviewed before. That was René Cardona the first. So now his son is getting into it. Before I watched this movie, I watched a few other René Cardona Jr. films, but none of them were horror. This one featured Anjanette, which was actually an American actress, and she had recently done a film with James Caan and Jack Albertson, who, if you don't know Jack Albertson by name, that's the guy who was Grandpa Joe in Willy Wonka. And they did this movie called Rabbit Run together, actually filmed in Reading, Pennsylvania, which is only 1 hour from here. That's a complete coincidence. That whole movie was done in Reading, so that was cool. This film also featured Christa Linder, who's a German actress, and I was surprised because, slight spoiler, but Christa Linder she gets killed in like 5 minutes into the movie. So she flew all the way from Germany for that. But I think she did a few other Mexican films as well. So basically, there are 1,000 cats. I mean, wouldn't you say there's about 1,000 cats in the movie? There's 1,000 real cats in the movie, but it's really not about the cats. It's really about this guy who owns the cats, and he flies his helicopter around Mexico City picking up chicks, and then he brings them home, and then he feeds them to the cats. So, what do you think about that?
I was kind of hoping it would give him more of a reason why he was feeding them to the cats. It seemed like he was making his own collection of their heads. Didn't really explain why he had the cats. Is it use the cats to kind of get rid of the evidence?
Yeah, good point.
Out this furnace.
He had a collection of their heads, right? And he actually mentioned that his ancestors were like hunting aficionados, and they had all these stuffed animals all over the place, but he collected women's heads. So, yeah, you're right. They really just used the cats to get rid of the evidence. They kept all the cats in like a fenced-in area in the basement of what he identified as a monastery from the 1600s, a Spanish monastery. Now, they definitely filmed it out of real, ruins of a old Spanish building. It probably was a Spanish monastery, and it probably really was from the 1600s. But like what you said about how they don't really explain why he was doing it, I think that's because we watched a 63-minute version. Now, that's the version they showed here, and I looked through it. You can watch this movie on Prime, Tubi, Plex, Pluto, maybe not Plex, but there's like 4 streaming apps that all have it, and they all show the 63-minute version. But apparently the original Mexican version was 93 minutes. So I think we probably lost some of the background. And not only that, but at one point this guy is with one woman, then he's with another woman, then he's with another woman, and some of them don't even get killed in the movie, and you just never see him again. So I blame the American cut for that. What do you think? How'd you like it?
That one was all over the place.
All over.
I wasn't even sure what to think of it.
Yeah, they jump around like crazy, but I really blame the cut. I guess the cut we watched is the American cut. It was in English, even though most of the actors were not English speakers, besides Anjanette Comer. But I'm wondering if only the English version survives, because I don't really know why they would show that one over others, especially on all the streaming apps, because it does not feel like a full movie. But you do get the beginning and the end. And you do get a lot of helicopter flying action, which I appreciate. And a lot of shots of Mexico City, right? I mean, we were watching these 4 movies last night, and the Wolf here was like, oh, wow, they got a bigger budget on this one than the other ones. Because this guy's like flying in a helicopter, and you see Mexico City and all that. Plus, another thing that was weird was there was one scene where he was with a woman at the beach. And there is no beach in Mexico City. So I looked it up, and that one was actually filmed, that scene was filmed in Acapulco, but they didn't say anything about, like, going there or anything like that. So overall, what would you rate the movie?
Do you want a personal enjoyment scale or scale of the actual quality
Well, you
of the
give
film?
both. We'll average them.
Okay, I'd say for quality of the film, I'd almost give it I want to give it a 7, but I'd have to see the longer version. I think if I saw the version with more context, I'd give it a 7. So right now I'll give it a 6 on the scale of quality of the film. It was shot well. I think the acting was good. The set pieces were all great. It looked like it was probably fairly expensive to acquire a lot of the props, probably a lot of the animal heads and other taxidermied animals they had in the shots. And all the cats. They'd have someone probably wrangle all the cats.
Yeah, they had to get
they had that many cats together
at least hundreds of cats.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. Then there's a scene where he does drown a cat. That almost didn't look like there was a cutaway at all. It looked like he grabbed the cat, shoved it underwater, and then they cut this.
I think he shoved a real cat underwater, and then they cut the camera, and he probably pulled it out. But because that was quick. But they definitely put the cat. And remember that scene? Not that I don't know if this necessarily adds to the production quality, but he definitely threw a cat. Over that fence.
That was real.
Yeah, he definitely threw a real cat over the fence, and it actually landed on its feet. But that fence was probably 10 to 12 feet tall.
I'm glad. I wonder how many takes it took him to get that right. I'd feel bad for the cat if he didn't get the height right over the trajectory.
Yeah, I'm gonna just imagine that was only a 1 take, and they got lucky on the first take. Plus,
I'm gonna go with that too.
They probably got permission from the city of Mexico City to go and film in that monastery because that set was beautiful. They were in the basement or whatever, and then it was actually, when they were in there, it was like a Gothic setting. They had like candles and stone staircases and all that. So
yeah, being that they weren't in a controlled environment for that, they were just out in the wild in a monastery shooting. The lighting was great given the circumstances there. So I would say in the personal scale of enjoyment, I'd also give it probably a 6, because half of me was thinking, like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah.
It was just so jumpy between everything. I don't think it's something I personally would watch again, but it was worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I'd give this cut a 6 out of 10. Now, if I could find the Mexican 93-minute cut, I would watch that again, and I would watch that in a heartbeat. And I'd probably re-review it if that ever came up. But after some searching this morning, I couldn't find any examples of that long cut. I have a feeling it might be lost. Also, when you mentioned the lighting, I was thinking about how all the movies we watched last night on 35mm film had this brown reddish tint to them, and I also didn't think they were super bright. So I'm a little bit interested to rewatch actually I don't need to watch Attack of the Killer Tomatoes again. I didn't like that one, but I would definitely watch Food of the Gods and Night of a Thousand Cats like a remastered version or a restored version, because I'm curious to see what the color palettes would look like not on this film, because all 4 movies and all the previews we watched in between were all reddish brown, pretty extremely. I thought they were pretty reddish.
It reminds me of some of the filters you can choose on your phone, like the Sophia and all those different settings.
Totally. Yeah, except I imagine it's
your photography.
Yeah, At first, when we watched Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, I assumed that maybe the film was worn out, but now I wonder if it was the projector, because the projector they have here, if I remember correctly, is the original projector. This place was built in 1949, and I'm pretty sure they're using that same exact projector. So maybe that projector, for whatever reason, is putting that like filter on the movies. I wonder, like, I know they're screening the 2017 It here soon. I wonder if that was going to look reddish brown.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to add any kind of characteristic to it to make it seem like an older movie.
Yeah, because from what I understand, they only show 35 millimeter film here because that's the kind of projector they have. So I would imagine that it was filmed digitally, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I really don't know. I know, like, Quentin Tarantino, like, does like film camera. I saw a 35. Actually, I don't know what millimeter print it was, but maybe it was 70 millimeter. I think it was like extra wide. But when Hateful Eight came out, I saw like a film presentation of it, and it was really cool. But it wasn't reddish brown, so I wonder if that's the actual camera. Anyway, any final thoughts?
None for me. It was a fun night, though.
I would say
you stayed awake through all of it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Yeah, the Wolf here stayed awake for the entire 4 movies. They weren't done until about 3:15 in the morning because they didn't start till 9. And I strategically slept during the Corpse Grinders because I had already seen that one. I knew I wasn't going to make it through all 4. But it was really fun. I would definitely come to the Mahoning. It only cost us $15 a piece to watch 4 movies each. They got pretty good food that they serve here, and the food is cheap. It's decent quality, but it's also cheap. They got bathrooms on site. It's great.
There's some cool props in there, some cool memorabilia, some posters. They have various merch for sale.
Yep, they got VHS tapes for sale, shirts. There's a Creature from the Black Lagoon pinball machine in there, so I would absolutely come here. I mean, I live about 4 hours from here. I think you live about the same, right?
Yeah, just under 4 hours.
Yeah, so I mean, I can't come here all the time, but basically, if they're going to show a horror film from the year that I'm trying to review, I'm coming. You know what I mean? That was really cool to see that here. But I probably would watch it again just to check out the colors. All right, well, that's it. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. It's really fun for us to make. I'm really glad I got a guest. That was cool. We watched it together. And so give me a like and a subscribe. And we'll see you next time.